They've swept all before them in Europe, and now they take on the rest of the world's finest in a bid to claim another world crown. Hello from Jim Bradford. Welcome to the International Stadium in Yokohama for Barcelona against Al Sadd in the second semi-final of the FIFA World Club Championship. It's live, exclusive, and in high definition on ESPN. Wonderful atmosphere here in Yokohama. The crowd of around 70,000. And 99% of them wanting Barcelona to get the victory. There's been very brisk business at the merchandise stalls with some early Christmas presents acquired. And here is the Al Sadd lineup this evening. They name the same team that won the Asian Champions League final with 7 Qataris, complemented by 4 others who have 219 caps between them. South Korean Lee Jung-soo will play at centre-half. Former Portsmouth midfielder Nadia Belhaj also features, while Keita and Niang both have extensive experience in French football, with Niang having scored 99 goals for Marseille. Joel Aguiar from El Salvador is the man who takes charge today.
FIFA y fair play, usted decide. Fair play, usted gana. Acá, ustedes mueven.
Very familiar face of Carlos Puyol leading the Barcelona side today. They've brought their entire first-team squad to Japan. They name a strong team for this semi-final. 5 of them started against Real Madrid on Saturday night, with Guardiola picking 7 of the 11 who began the Champions League final against Manchester United in May. Adriano and Mascherano are recalled at the back, Keita and Alcantara in midfield, and David Villa up front to play alongside the 2 men who scored in the 2009 World Club Championship final, Lionel Messi and Pedro. Jorge Fossati has claimed that Al Sadd are similar to Getafe and Mallorca. 2 clubs not picked entirely at random. Getafe, the only side that have inflicted defeat on Pep Guardiola's Barcelona so far this season. I think he might be just a little bit optimistic in those claims. We will see. Plenty of experience on the bench, particularly on the Barcelona bench, as you can see. The likes of Busquets and Fabregas can be called upon if necessary. The European champions meet the Asian champions, with the South American champions waiting in the final. For Barca, it's an opportunity to regain the trophy they won in 2009 and continue the European domination of the tournament, which has been far-reaching over the last 5 years. And here's Lionel Messi on the attack for Barcelona from the very off, looking for David Villa. Brought away by Casola. Kalfan wins the free kick. He is widely regarded as the most talented of the Qataris in this Al Sadd team. Lionel Messi hoping to add to the 27 goals that he's already scored this season in just 24 appearances. An extraordinary record. A player who was voted player of the tournament a couple of years ago when Barcelona last won this competition. David Villa, who was left out of the starting lineup for Barcelona's game against Real Madrid on Saturday night. A decision of Guardiola's which has caused considerable personal consternation for Villa. And most of the ensuing 96 hours has centred around whether David Villa will now stay at the club. Marca in Spain this morning claiming that he's been touted by Barcelona to Chelsea, to Liverpool and to Aston Villa as well. Only 18 months after his £33 million arrival at Barcelona from Valencia. Keita. Mascherano. Iniesta for David Villa, who then couldn't supply the ball to Lionel Messi. Mamadou Niang fouled by Mascherano. Niang, the principal goal-scoring threat for Al Sadd. Player who signed from Fenerbahce in the summer, but was prolific in French football, more than 150 goals in his career. Kaufan. Familiar face of Nadib El Haj. Mascherano, who applies his trade exclusively as a centre-half these days after his move from Liverpool, where he was in that more advanced defensive midfield position. Covering by Pedro. First touch for Victor Valdez, which is much more assured than his first touch against Real Madrid the other night. It's the fact that Barcelona were a goal down inside 22 seconds of that game that made the ensuing victory even more impressive. One which has taken them back to the top of La Liga, albeit that Real Madrid still have a game in hand. Barca now top on goal difference. No great tempo about the opening exchanges, which is perhaps understandable, bearing in mind the extensive amount of travel that Barcelona have undergone in the last 3 or 4 days. It's cleverly done by David Villa. Pedro trying to get round the back. It was Cazorla with an unorthodox clearance, which might yet fall for David Villa. And the offside flag's up against him. Messi perhaps fortunate not to be sent off in that game against Real Madrid. Certainly that was the view of Jose Mourinho speaking after the game. Pedro. Iniesta. Keita. Iniesta with a clever touch, just too far ahead of Pedro. The flag was up against him anyway. That is where they really are so impressive, passing the ball at will, and then the quick injection of tempo, which can cause so much problem for a defensive side. All 7 of the Qatari players in the Al Sadd team, incidentally, are full internationals. One of them, the goalkeeper Mohamed, put under too much pressure there by David Villa. From Keita, here's Cazorla. Rescued by Talal. Now Ibrahim Abdul-Majed. Niang made his run too early. Al Sadd, historically, Qatar's most successful team. They were founded back in 1969 by a group of students. It didn't take long for them to become a multi-millionaire business. They won the Asian Champions League for the 2nd time in their history just a few months ago. It was their first success in that competition for 22 years, although it was a decidedly controversial run to the final. Iniesta here finding Pedro. Too many targets in the middle. David Villa was waiting. Everybody else had peeled away towards the back post. Back it comes from Abidal for Iniesta. Puyol. Thiago Alcantara with a lovely switch of play for Pedro. Back from Iniesta to Pedro. He opens up the angle. Well blocked by Lee. Keita with the shot. Flicked in by Iniesta, just too high for David Villa. I think we've already seen in the opening 8 minutes that although Barcelona are jet-lagged and have had trouble sleeping, this could be 90 minutes of attack against defence. Messi. Skipping around the challenges with aplomb. It's Coney that blocked the shot. Back it comes from Iniesta. Thiago Alcantara. Messi beaten to it and Talal able to clear. And comes straight back again with Mascherano, the only Barcelona player who finds it necessary to be in his own half. Messi. Mascherano's only back there to act as a ball boy in all truth. Lovely through ball, but David Villa had just gone that little bit too early. I think Al Sadd might consider themselves slightly fortunate that they've survived the first 9 minutes without conceding here. Excellent link-up play between Messi and David Villa. So despite the ongoing rumours that the pair of them don't actually get on, Keita. Iniesta. Back to Iniesta. Talal having to come back and cover. And then Casola will be able to clear his lines. Mamadou Niang turning straight into trouble in the form of Seydou Keita. Alcantara, Messi. The ball hitting Kalfan. Belhaj coming back to cover. Outside just struggling to get any form of possession, let alone in a decent area as Messi again strides forward. Talal has made a number of decent interceptions, just dropping back from midfield in the early stages. Keita. Given away to Messi. Last-ditch defending from Casola as Iniesta made another trademark run forward. Abidal. Oh, it's lost out to Mamadou Niang. Puyol was in very strongly to get the ball away from Talal. And it will come straight back again with Thiago Alcantara. Iniesta for Messi. Quite get the angle right on the reverse ball for Iniesta. There's Abdelkader Keita. Ivorian, who's got experience of playing against Barcelona before. He played 4 Champions League ties for Lyon against Barca. The player has been a linchpin since Jorge Fossati took over. Fossati, who was a Uruguayan international goalkeeper in his playing days. Iniesta, Pedro. Mascherano. Adriano's playing at right back, but is just taking up station on the right-hand side of midfield. A lopsided Barcelona formation. Just puts a little bit more of an onus on Carlos Puyol just to fill in that gap in behind him. Messi. Certainly the man that all the Japanese have come to see. A number of Messi shirts in evidence. Completely overwhelming. Free kick won by Wessam Abdelmajid Rizik. Given away by Andres Iniesta, the man who scored the winner in the World Cup final. Just give you an illustration of the size of the task facing Al Sadd today. There are 5 players who featured in the World Cup final who are in this Barcelona starting lineup. Pedro's ball in. David Villa trying to turn. Very one-sided contest as far as the bookmakers are concerned, with Barcelona 25-1 on to win this game. Al Sadd readily available to back at 80-1. Have already made it through one round. Barcelona as European champions getting a bye through the quarter-final stage. Al Sadd have beaten African side Esperance of Tunisia by 2-1 in a game in which the Tunisians, the African champions, completely dominated, but were hit on the counter-attack by Al Sadd, which is the way they play. Side who tend to try and soak up pressure and hit clubs on the counter. There's going to be plenty of pressure for them to soak up here. I mentioned incidentally that it was a slightly controversial path through to the Asian Champions League final. In the quarter-finals, they were well beaten. They ended up going through after one of the legs was overturned after an ineligible player had been fielded. And Al Sadd were awarded that one by 3-0. They still only just made it through on aggregate. That took them through to the semis, where they beat Korean side Suwon Blue Wings. 2-0 victory away from home, with one of the goals being scored. And Suwon were expecting the ball to be returned to them after it had been put out of play. Al Hajj with the clearance here. Messi. Back for Messi again. He just about got his feet right to be able to knock it away. Iniesta then well challenged on the edge of the penalty area, but one back here by Mascherano. And it's Puyol who's sweeping up this time. Barcelona with 2/3 of the possession through the opening quarter of an hour. If anything, I'm surprised that it is only 66% that they've enjoyed. Haven't had to break sweat so far. Here's Messi. It's ricocheted back off Adriano, and here's a chance for David Villa. And for all the play they've enjoyed, that's just about the first shot on target that Barcelona have had, and it was easily saved by Mohamed. Element of luck about the ricochet, which took it into the path of David Villa. Emphatic clearance by Abdul Majed. 3 seconds later, it ended up being a David Villa shot, but unable to get the placement to guide it either side of Mohamed. Pedro with a long switch for Adriano. Faced up by Belhadj, who's lost it. Curious ball back in, which fell behind Iniesta. Talal with the clearance. Back it comes from Puyol. He just cannot get out at all at the moment. Messi again. Alcantara. Keita. Abidal getting it back from Abdelkader Keita. Adriano with time to try and pick David Villa around. He was the only one in the centre, and it's put behind for Barcelona's first corner of the game. Adriano. Barcelona nothing if not patient. They have scored 78 goals already this season, averaging exactly 3 goals a game in all competitions. Teased back in here by David Villa, and it falls for Keita. Magnificently done by Pedro. Now Messi. Vara deflection, he wins the corner. They got the first one short. I think this one's going to take a more direct avenue inside the penalty area. Pedro making the near post run. Puyol is that little bit deeper. And from Adriano. Talal look for Niang. Now Messi. Lovely pass to find him. David Villa. What is noticeable, although ostensibly Al Sadd are playing with a back four, the Barcelona get the ball forward in this kind of area. So many white shirts between the Barcelona player in possession and their nearest teammate. 7 back for Al Sadd on that occasion, including the goalkeeper. Only Messi and Villa inside the penalty area. Seems to be the tactic to try and suffocate the space for Barcelona to work with. A dangerous tactic, inviting pressure onto themselves. Probably nothing they can do about the inevitable pressure that will be applied by Barca. Keita. Casola in support. Just going back to that semi-final of the Asian Champions League with 10 minutes to go. With Al Sadd leading by a goal nil against Suwon. A Suwon player inadvertently kicked in the head, which prompted Suwon to kick the ball out of play. And while he was being attended to, Keita took the free kick quickly. Suwon defence let it go, thinking that possession was going to be restored to them, and Niang raced through and scored. Similar to the Overmars and Kanu goal that Arsenal scored against Sheffield United in the FA Cup a good few years ago. The difference, of course, being that this was an Asian Cup semi-final. Fans weren't happy as Suwon supporter ran onto the pitch. That sparked a mass melee, which involved players, coaching staff. And after the fighting was brought to a halt, the referee sent off a player from each team. The Al Sadd defender Lee walked off in embarrassment, but the result stood, and they made it through to the finals, where again they spent all game soaking up pressure and won on penalties against another South Korean side, Jeonbuk. Hasn't made them the most universally popular side in Asia, it has to be said. Mamadou Niang with a long ball forward, which prompts a rare touch for Victor Valdez, the first time that he's touched the ball literally in 20 minutes. Iniesta. Pedro working the angle. David Villa was waiting. Oh, the referee will let play go. And Barcelona have the goal with Adriano. Terrible mix-up at the back involving the goalkeeper, Mohamed. As he was touched back to him, he knew that he couldn't pick it up. But a fatal moment's hesitation. And when he eventually cleared it, it was straight into Adriano, who gives Barcelona the lead. And for all the pretty football they've played, they've scored one of the scruffiest goals you can imagine. Pedro's ball in. Belhaj back to goalkeeper. Mohamed simply couldn't deal with it. You don't get thinking time against the European champions. Second goal of the season for Adriano, whose previous one was the winner against Sporting Gijón in the league back in October. And his third goal in Barcelona colours in nearly 50 games. Niang just catching Keita on the turn. Don't know whether Nadir Belhaj needed a touch to guide it back to his goalkeeper, or whether it would have got there anyway, but it was that touch that caused the problems. It certainly goes down as a goalkeeping error. Plenty of time just to side foot the ball away or whack it clear. Is that the opening of the floodgates? The surprise being that it took Barcelona 25 minutes to break through, and when the goal came, it came in the manner that it did. Messi here for David Villa, who's onside and wins another corner. Alcantara's delivery, Puyol with a header. Very optimistic attempt from Adriano. Well, did Belhaj need to touch this? Yes, he did. And Adriano in close attendance. Adriano gets the Reward for the pressure applied. Up to that point, the two centre-halves, Lee and Coney, had defended stoutly enough. Ibrahim with a header away. Talal. Puyol relishing the physical nature of the battle against Mamadou Niang. An opponent that I don't believe he's actually come up against in the past, despite the fact that Niang has got such extensive experience in European football. Certainly Belhaj and Keita have both played in the Champions League against Barca. Neither of them have ever been on the winning side against the Catalans. Not that long ago, of course, Belhaj was playing in the FA Cup final in his last Portsmouth game, coming in the Wembley showpiece against Chelsea 18 months ago. Cleverly turned forward here by Abidal. Pedro's delivery. It was Messi that was arriving. Faintest of contacts from David Villa, but the referee gives the free kick Coney's way. Iniesta. Free kick taken from the wrong place, and referee Aguiar just trying to calm down Keita. Free kick given for a raised boot. Pedro. Mascherano. Thiago Alcantara, son of the former Brazilian World Cup winner Mezinho. Adriano's goal will force El Santo to come out of their shell, at least it will in theory. You have to be able to get the foot on the ball in order to do that. Iniesta, just caught from behind by Keita. Two touches for Victor Valdez inside a minute. Barcelona's possession was 66% in the opening 15 minutes, up to 71% now, which means they've had more than 3/4 of the ball in the middle third of this first half. Iniesta. David Villa. Again, whenever he picks up the ball in that kind of position, so many white shirts between him and goal. Nothing if not well drilled, the Al Sadd side by their Uruguayan coach Fossati. Liang wanted to throw, it's gone the other way. Messi. Caught by Talal. As he laid it off for Adriano. Play goes on with Abidal in possession here for Barca. David Villa. Excellent setup. Iniesta and Villa makes it 2-0. No, flags up. And that must have been a close call. A really close call against David Villa. When Iniesta had the shot, was Villa too far forward? Yes, it was a close call, but it was an excellent one from the Salvadoran official. It's easy to see why Al Sadd have struggled for goals. Generally speaking, I know that they don't play against anything like this standard of opposition. But they've lost 3 of the last 4 games in the Qatari League. They've conceded a goal a game on average. And size of their task really today. Barcelona, regarded by so many as the best club side the world has seen for a generation, taking on the 5th best side in Qatar. By necessity, it's a complete damage limitation exercise as far as Al Sadd are concerned. Calfan, the playmaker in the Al Sadd side, seeing very little possession. Now it's forward for David Villa, who's onside this time. Coney did just enough to stay with him. And he might have hurt David Villa. Keita sportingly puts the ball out of play so that David Villa can get any treatment that is necessary. Doesn't look good. Excellent timing of the run this time. And Coney wrapped his foot around it. He just put the pressure on David Villa. And the contact seemingly was made just above the left ankle. That was the problem. It wasn't contact from Coney at all, and I think it's a ligament problem because when he landed, just planted the studs of the right boot in the ground, and his momentum took him further forward. Just saw him twist that ankle. I don't think it would be a particularly serious problem for him. It's still one that's going to rule him out of the rest of this game, and I'm sure Sunday's final. Assuming, of course, Barcelona reach the final. Mascherano. Calfan. Ball forward towards Keita. Now Seydou Keita. He's one of 5 men in this starting lineup who started the 2009 final. Barcelona played in the final as well back in 2006 when they lost to Internacional of Brazil. Iniesta. So the change will be made, and David Villa comes off to be replaced by Alexis Sanchez, the winger signed from Udinese for an initial £23 million. Another view of the problem that David Villa sustained there. He knew as soon as he went down that he had a problem. Guardiola forced to make a change. Sanchez, the talented Chilean forward, scored 4 goals in his last 3 games, including an equaliser at Real Madrid at the Bernabeu on Saturday night. And he's on now. Here's Messi. Talal with the ball over the top for Niang to chase. Knocked up by Puyol. Belhaj didn't control that, it's gone out for a throw. Iniesta. Nice Abidal, who's continued his run forward here. He didn't fancy the shot. Unsurprisingly, for a man who's only scored once in 172 Barcelona games, but here he is cropping up on the right wing now. Back for Adriano, who's already scored today. Messi's onside. Back towards Pedro, and again, so many white shirts. 8 of them, plus the goalkeeper inside the penalty area. Messi losing out to Talal. It's a Barcelona throw, despite the claims of Calfan, who is the top scorer for Qatar in the current set of World Cup qualifiers. He did score against the Esperance on Sunday in the quarterfinals. A player with an unenviable disciplinary reputation, having been sent off in each of his last 2 league games. Calfan, the number 14. Red mist does tend to descend. Sanchez. Alcantara. Messi that little bit deeper to find Keita. Iniesta. Helped him by Messi. Really well defended. Ibrahim did well. It would have been very difficult for his goalkeeper with 2 Barcelona players converging on him. Keita trying to win it back from Abidal, but not succeeding. Back it comes from Pedro. And yes, they're finding Messi. Poor clearance from Mohamed. And he's punished quite emphatically. It's Adriano again. And in the first half tonight, he's doubled his Barcelona goal tally, which had been accrued over nearly 50 games. Barca 2-0 up, extraordinarily good value for that lead. And once more, Al Sadd, architects of their own downfall. It's a poor clearance from the goalkeeper. And Adriano just drifting off that right wing. Played in by Thiago Alcantara. And the goalkeeper really should have done better. It's gone straight through it. Just down that little bit late. Nevertheless, would have been expected to stop it. And 2 goals in the space of 18 minutes for Adriano. Niang cutting a very disconsolate figure now. He's the leading scorer for Al Sadd this season, and he's only scored 3. Iniesta. Fouled by Coney. Free kick taken too quickly. He'll have to come back and take it again. Carlos Puyol had made a darting run forward. Alcantara resisting the temptation to take an early one to try and find him. Back from Abidal for Messi. Pedro just lost account of the geography of the situation, and now an opportunity. Abidal might be outpaced here. Keita couldn't make the most of the only chance that Al Sadd have created in this first 45 minutes. Sprinting through, taking Mascherano on. Had the measure of Abidal for pace. And Mascherano did well to come back and make life difficult. And Keita did get the shot in. Never likely to cause Victor Valdez any significant trouble. Here's Messi. Barcelona extend their lead right at the end of the first half. Just the 1 extra minute to be added on. Kalfan finding Belhaj. Puyol. Niang making life difficult for him. And the free kick given against Puyol right on the edge of the penalty area. Well, they've switched off twice in the last 2 minutes of this first half. I have to say that a set piece, in a realistic way that Al Sadd are going to be able to score. There's barely time to take this. When Niang was a Marseille player, he could frequently find the net from this kind of range. He's the number 9 waiting there, Belhaj, and Keita standing over it as well. There's Niang, straight into the wall, and there won't be time for anything else as Barcelona have a very comfortable 2-0 lead, more than 70% of the possession in the opening 45 minutes. And whilst they've been able to deny Lionel Messi too much space, Adriano has scored twice after errors from the goalkeeper. And Barcelona and Guardiola's men very, very comfortably in charge. Half-time here in Yokohama. Barcelona 2, Al Sadd 0. Barcelona since 1899, well, at least since 5:30 this afternoon. 2-0, Barca leading Al Sadd. 2 goals for Adriano in the first 45 minutes. The difference between the two sides, as you can see, some Qatari flags and some Al Sadd flags being waved there as well, but certainly more in hope than expectation. Jorge Fossati's men have been completely outclassed in every department over the opening 45 minutes, and his claims that his club are at a similar level to Getafe or Mallorca do seem to be a little bit of a hollow boast the way things have gone so far. These are 2 goals that Barcelona scored in the opening 45 minutes, both scored from Adriano, who's become the first defender in FIFA Intercontinental Cup history to score twice in the same game. The first after a mistake from the goalkeeper, and Mohamed didn't cover himself in glory for the second one either. Adriano on for a hat-trick in the second half. Barcelona coming into this match on the back of 4 consecutive wins, and having lost only once in their last 32 games. Of course, stopped Real Madrid's 15-game winning streak on Saturday night. When you consider just what El Clasico does, how demanding it can be, how exhausting mentally and physically, and then for a 6,500-mile journey out to Japan, with the time differences ensued as well. None of the Barcelona players have found it easy to sleep, I understand. And they've been a little bit restless, but still it's been an excellent performance from them. No 24-carat flair as we often see from them, but they haven't needed to provide that tonight. They will be saving it for the final against Santos, which takes place here in Yokohama on Sunday. Santos through after their 3-1 victory against home favourites Kashiwa Reysol yesterday, which we brought you live here on ESPN. So Messi coming back out for the second half. 1 change made in the first 45 minutes, remember. Saw the withdrawal of David Villa. He was replaced by Alexis Sanchez. Villa going off with what looked like an ankle ligament injury, but hopefully not too severe. Messi has been paid the ultimate respect in the first 45 minutes because they've had 3 players on him at all times. And no chance for him to add to the 27 goals that he scored so far this season. Keita with the only chance that Al Sadd have been able to garner so far. So underway for the second half, and it will be one of the most extraordinary fight-backs in the history of this competition if Al Sadd can even take this one into extra time. 2-0 Barcelona leading with goals from Adriano. No changes made by either team at half-time, just the one so far with Sanchez on for the injured David Villa in the first half for Barca. Barcelona champions in the 2009 renewal of this event in Abu Dhabi when they beat Estudiantes in the final, but only just. Mauro Baselli, who put the Argentines ahead, player who very quickly signed for Wigan after that. Pedro then equalised in the 89th minute, and Messi to strike the winner 10 minutes in the end of extra time. Here is Messi. Back for Sanchez, who's gone down, and the referee, who didn't have the best view of it, consults his linesman and says no penalty. Good call. 5 goals for Sanchez so far in what's been an injury hit first few months at Barca. But he has scored 4 in his last 3 games. player who really benefited from playing alongside Antonio Di Natale at Udinese. It's to Udinese's credit that even without Sanchez, they have had the extraordinary season that they're enjoying at the moment. And they're also in action later tonight, Udinese, taking on Celtic in the Europa League, and that's a game that we will bring you live here on ESPN. Sanchez just saw the ball go back over the line after he controlled the throw from Abidal. Keita. Pedro. Carlos Puyol making his 529th Barcelona appearance today. Not the most of the current squad, of course. Xavi, who's on the bench today, reached 600 against Real Madrid at the weekend. Here's Iniesta. Not too far short of 400 himself these days. Thiago Alcantara. And Sanchez is offside. Helped on towards Niang. Niang and Keita have been starved of possession, but there's been nothing seen at all of Kalfan, the number 14, who was the player that was really talked up of the Qataris before the game started. Here he is now. Barca doing to Kalfan what Al Sadd have effectively been able to do to Messi so far, denying any space in possession. Here's Iniesta. Messi trying to pop it off for Pedro. He asked an awful lot of the winger, but it's still going to be a Barcelona throw. Messi already has 4 hat-tricks to his credit so far this season, including one in the Champions League against Victoria Plzeň. 6 Champions League goals for him in the group stages. And here he is trying to get in. Did he use his arm in controlling that? Yes, he did. Free kick. None too subtle. Pedro. Messi. Abidal making his way forward from left back. Messi instead goes for Alexis Sanchez. Nadir Belhaj able to sneak in between him and the ball to clear. No foul on Keita, and it will be a Barcelona throw rather than an Al Sadd free kick, but it's what Messi is all about. Excellent one-touch football and movement off the ball. Just opened up for Sanchez for a moment, but couldn't pull the trigger in time. Messi. Iniesta. Guaje. It's often a feature of the way that Al Sadd play. They will get Nadia Guaje pushing forward from that wide position on the left-hand side, just in front of the back three. And draw players into play and then be able to switch it off for the likes of Calfan inside. Hasn't worked for them at all tonight. Al Sadd have failed to score in their two most recent league games. Well, a club who've got quite an illustrious past. They've had the likes of Romario, Frank Leboeuf on the books at one stage. And here's Messi. Messi again. Brilliantly done by Messi, and the deflection takes it just a fraction wide. Well, the travelling fans from Spain know exactly what he can do. The first chance for the Japanese to see the skills of Lionel Messi firsthand. First corner of the second half taken by Alcantara, and Puyol has not got enough on it. Slight superiority in that regard for Barcelona. 13 of the 15 shots of this game being taken by the Catalans. Sanchez caught from behind by Abdullah Kone, who was of Senegalese descent but now a Qatari citizen and international. Puyol. Messi, Iniesta. Thiago Alcantara for Sanchez. Just caught Lee. Knows this part of the world very well, Lee, because he spent 2 years playing here in Japan for both Kyoto and Kashima. Michel Platini. Just wrapping up against a coldish night. It's been clear all day in Yokohama. Keita. Eric Abidal. Messi, and Sanchez is offside. The second time they've had the ball in the net where they've been denied by an offside flag. I would suggest that that time the linesman got it wrong. Belhaj had played him level. Grand skis, and not an officiating error which is going to be too significant at the end of the day. Talal, Abdelkader Keita, closed down by Pedro. Now Iniesta. Barcelona's possession continues to rise. Not even a glimmer of a way back into the game for Al Sadd, unsurprisingly. Here's Messi. Belhaj. Excellent footing from Adriano, steers it back for Seydou Keita. Thiago. Pedro for Iniesta. Now Puyol. Nearly every Barcelona outfield player involved in this move. Belhaj caught Messi the first time of asking, won it cleanly the second. Calfan back for Belhaj. Now Kone. Flicked on towards Talal, but it was a little bit too intricate a flick from Mamadou Niang. Pedro. And Messi unable to play it back into his path. Lee saw to that, and Casola will be able to clear. Positioning of the referee has done nothing to aid Al Sadd's cause there as Iniesta tries his luck. West Ham, I think, with the block. And Calfan, who's able to definitively get the ball clear. A free kick taken quickly. Keita has gone down after a collision with Adriano. Now, how significant the contact is, I don't know. Might just have been a finger in the eye. Iniesta with an outstanding opportunity to extend Barcelona's lead. It was a really good block by Abdelmajid Ibrahim. Well, in the quarterfinals, Fossati's men again had surrendered the majority of possession to their opponents. On that occasion, the African champions Esperance. Well, they had enough of the ball to be able to hit the Tunisians on the counter-attack. Other than one attempt for Keita in that regard at the end of the first half, they've not even seen Victor Valdez's posts in the hour that we've played. Lee gets it away. Keita has jumped into Puyol. Caught from behind. It was a poor challenge and will result in the first yellow card of the game being shown to Ibrahim Abdelmajid. Looks as though they're shaping up for Thiago Alcantara to hit this, although Messi now makes his way back. It could all have been heavily disguised. 6 in the wall as Messi tries his luck, and it's a decent save in fairness to Mohamed, who hasn't covered himself in glory tonight, but he will only have seen that late. It's a good save. Not quite in the corner, and it wasn't a nice height for him. But he was on him very quickly. And it's given Barcelona their 5th corner. Messi. Messi again. Oh, great ball forward for Keita. 3-0. Messi at his best. Brilliant pass. Being acknowledged by Seydou Keita. He scores his first goal of the season. Magnificent play from Lionel Messi. Dropping off, finding that little bit of space. Just getting the angle right on the pass. First touch a little bit heavy from Keita, but nevertheless still able to finish easily enough. Al Sadd will make their first change. Talal coming off to be replaced by Mohamed Al Yazidi, who is an attacking midfielder. One who hasn't scored for more than a year. Another Qatari international.
Player number 15, Talal Al-Yazidi, is replaced by number 10, Mohamed Al-Yazidi.
These Mascherano's hardly had a touch in the second half, and I don't remember Victor Valdes having a single touch since half-time. First touch for Al-Yazidi, the substitute. The significant difference in this second half is Messi is now being able to just find that little bit of space. And been closed down so emphatically in the first 45 minutes. In the second half, there's just been that little bit more wriggle room outside the edge of the penalty area for him, and he's making his way forward here. By his standards, he'll think that's a bad miss. Brilliantly inventive, persistent as always, just unable to hit the target. It looked as though it was a lost cause as he chased with Ibrahim. Survived the pull of the shirt. Had to take it on first time, and even the replay shown on the big screens gets a massive ovation. Barcelona's second change is a straight swap at left back. The Frenchman Abidal replaced by the Brazilian Maxwell. Iniesta. Maxwell back for Pedro. Keita. Adriano forced to retrace his steps by the persistent Belhaj. They're able to find Keita. Maxwell, from Ajax and Inter Milan left back. Now Thiago Alcantara. easy to wrestle out of possession. Iniesta. Back from Maxwell, all left foot. Back for Iniesta again. Messi. Eventually Messi loses possession. So many crisp short passes from the Barcelona players, particularly Messi and Maxwell. Midway through the second half, Barcelona's passage through to the final here on Sunday, I beg your pardon, now assured. They have the likes of Fabregas and Xavi to call back into that side to take on Santos. Busquets as well, you would expect to be recalled. Dani Alves and Piqué may well take up defensive roles. Kate is offside. This was when the ball was played forward by the goalkeeper. Barcelona are never particularly big spenders in the January transfer market, but they have been linked over the last 48 hours with a move for the Rennes midfielder Yann Villa, who has supposedly been watched. They've also, according to reports in England this morning, been sounded out on the availability of Fernando Torres, but again, supposedly have passed. Wide from Maxwell. Iniesta. Deflected on into the path of Messi. As every move is accompanied by a chorus of cameras being trained in his direction. Barca's final change is an interesting one because Alexis Sanchez only came on in the first half to replace David Villa. But when Isaac Cuenca only made his debut for Barcelona in the middle of October, comes on for his 9th appearance for the club. Leads you to believe that Alexis Sanchez is going to be starting for Guardiola's men in the final against Santos. He's had a really good start to his first team career as well. Cuenca, he scored a couple of goals already, both in impressive home wins against Mallorca and Levante. Seen a bit of action in the Champions League as well. Thiago Alcantara. Wide by Balhaj. Alcantara, very cleverly done. Wins the throw. Still only 20. Thiago. His father played for Fiorentina and Valencia, among others. Applying his trade in Florence when young Thiago was born. He's a Spanish citizen. His dad could play for Brazil, as I mentioned earlier, in the 1994 World Cup. You remember the famous Romario 3 men and a baby celebration, the 94 World Cup. Mazinho, who's the father of Thiago Alcantara, was one of the other two. Another view of Messi's brilliant pass for Keita. It's significant that Keita straight away went across and paid tribute to Messi. 27 goals and untold assists for him in this 2011-2012 campaign. Here he is in possession again. The man who scored 207 Barcelona goals in his career, and he's still only 24. Thiago Alcantara almost able to play a replica of Messi's pass for the third goal. Here's Pedro. Flanks out towards the right-hand side now that Cuenca has come on. Pedro. Messi. Iniesta tried to find a way through, and it still nearly crept past the goalkeeper. Not they got any contact on it, Iniesta of consequence. When it looks as though there aren't any options, he still has the ability to play that little reverse ball. He's probably turning it round the corner, finding simple yet unconventional angles. Maxwell. Thiago Alcantara. Cuenca. Just a little bit too much on the pass back from Maxwell. Barcelona have maintained their 3-goal average for the season, up to 81 goals this season now, 50 of them in La Liga, although worth pointing out that Real Madrid have also scored 50 and done it in 15 games rather than Barcelona's 16. 3 today in one of the most comfortable victories of the season so far. Just not been extended at any stage in this game. Al Sadd going to make a change and bring on Youssef Ali Ahmed very shortly. May well herald the withdrawal of Niang. We'll find out in a moment. Ball in towards Messi. He comes back again for Adriano. Cuenca. Iniesta. Messi. Adriano. Well, he's on a hat-trick and you can't blame him. He's such a rare goal scorer that he wants to take every opportunity that comes his way. So the change will indeed herald the withdrawal of Niang. And Youssef Ali Ahmed will come on, a player who features for the first time this season. He's been struggling through injury. And makes his comeback. He got 11 goals last season, including the winner in the Qatari Cup final. That's 5 international goals to his credit as well, and he will get 15 minutes to pit his wits against the best team in Europe. Keita thought that he had an elbow from Keita there. Here's Maxwell. Youssef. The news I'm hearing from downstairs, not good as far as the medical prognosis of David Villa is concerned. And I understand that it's been diagnosed as a broken leg and that he could be out for the rest of the season. And more details, of course, will be unfolding as the day progresses, and you can catch up with those at espn.co.uk. Worrying news about David Villa, who seemingly broke his leg in that coming together with Coney in the first half. He might just concentrate Pep Guardiola's mind in terms of what he's going to do in the transfer market in January. Of course, Barcelona have been linked with a move for Fernando Torres, although certainly one that they have played down. So they've interest in the Chelsea player. And the news coming out of Chelsea in the last 24 hours is that they don't want to sell him either. But stranger things have happened. Cazorla gets the yellow card, and that means that he will miss the 3rd and 4th place playoff against Kashiwa Reysol through suspension. Hurt himself in the process as well. A statement on Barcelona's official website, incidentally, which has just been released, says that David Villa has suffered a fracture to the tibia in his left leg. And they reckon that he'll be out for 6 months. Here come Barca again, looking for number 4. And Maxwell squeezes it through the despairing grasp of the hapless goalkeeper. Only his 2nd goal in 89 Barcelona games, and they have a 4-0 advantage going into the final 10 minutes. Just all too easy, Maxwell making an uncharted run. The goalkeeper elected to try and save with his legs rather than his hands. Won't want to see that again. Well, not the most surprising scoreline. 4-0 to Barcelona. Said that they were going to win this 4-0. I don't think you'd have picked those 4 goal scorers, or the 4 goals to have been scored by those 3 men between them. The right back, the substitute left back, and a defensive midfielder. And here comes Messi again. It could get worse. Keita making his way forward. Messi might go alone. Here is Keita, and they're going to have to make do with a corner. Three corners in each half for Barcelona. Swept in by Thiago Alcantara. Lee taking control at the back. Maxwell's header, and then a foul by Keita. Now Pedro, Messi. One man that all the Japanese in the stadium want to score tonight. Maxwell out for Cuenca. Messi. Iniesta working wide for Adriano, but Belhaj got there first. Excellent challenge coming in from Thiago Alcantara, setting up Iniesta. Messi back towards Iniesta. Pedro for Alcantara. Pedro, Messi's in the middle. Couldn't get the deft flick that he wanted. Does score a surprisingly large percentage of his goals very late in games, Lionel Messi. Keita will come off. The final change sees the withdrawal of the Ivorian, and he'll be replaced by Hassan El Haidos, who made his international debut as a 17-year-old. A couple of goals this season, El Haidos. Might not get more than a couple of touches in this. Into the final 5 minutes, I don't think Al Sadd, truth be told, would have expected too much else other than relatively comprehensive defeat. Reaching the semi-finals, an achievement for them, bearing in mind they only finished 6th in the Qatari League last season and 5th this time round in the fledgling stage of the new campaign. They've only played 8 games in the Qatari Super League. So this will be a 16th win in 19 games in all competitions. Set them up nicely for the final, which takes place Sunday morning. Kick-off 10:30 English time against Santos of Brazil. You can see it live on ESPN. Iniesta. Keita. Thiago Alcantara. Cuenca. Another corner. Iniesta. The challenge is increasingly tired now from the Al Sadd players. come off Iniesta last, out of play for a goal kick, well defended by West Ham. They've already lost one player to a serious injury in this game, and now it's Carlos Puyol who's down in some distress. Youssef putting the full weight through the ankle. I hope that's not another break. Good to see that he's back on his feet and is not going to need the stretcher. I don't think that his foot was planted on the ground when the challenge came in from Youssef. It's another view of the Maxwell goal, which heralded the most inauspicious piece of goalkeeping on a bad night for Mohamed. And we go into the final minute with a limited amount of time to be added on. Puyol is going to be able to continue. It's a dangerous challenge from Youssef, as I say. Puyol's standing foot been on the ground. It could well have been a break, that. Here's Maxwell. Assad just determined to inflict just a couple of bruises as a parting gesture to the Barcelona players, who've eclipsed them very comfortably without ever having to go above second gear. Pedro with a sublime piece of skill. And Mascherano down hurt now. Collision between him and Youssef, and Javier Mascherano in some distress. Well, Youssef's challenge on Puyol was bad, and that one was very late as well. And Youssef, I think, has gone to ground to just try and con the referee. He could easily have had a yellow card for both of those challenges. I'm sure Pep Guardiola, as guarded as he often is, will have something to say. Before we came on air earlier today, we had some shots of the Barcelona players in the tunnel. Lionel Messi was looking jaded then. Looks better now than he did before the game started. Been able to run the jet lag out of his system, I think, in the 90 minutes. Here's Puyol. And he was fouled. playing on a little bit of added time after the Mascherano injury now. But Barcelona hear the full-time whistle and have done the job very, very easily indeed, coasting past the Asian champions, beating them by 4-0 with 2 from Adriano in the first half, Keita and Maxwell then scoring after half-time. Lionel Messi having a contribution and a part to play in most of the goals without actually getting on the score sheet himself. The first one coming after a mistake from the goalkeeper Mohamed, couldn't deal with Belhadji's touch back to him, and he kicked it into Adriano, who got the first. Adriano got the second as well, played in by Thiago Alcantara, and the goalkeeper led it straight through him. Cedric Keita scored the best goal of the game, brilliantly found by Messi, and a good touch. Saw him squeeze it past Mohamed for 3, while Maxwell scored the 4th to embarrass the goalkeeper again. So Barcelona in the final against Santos on Sunday. For now, from me, Jim Bradford, and the rest of the team, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.